Center. Good morning. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Art Lewis Show. Every now and then, we like to sit down with some of our colleagues and find out what they're up to in the community. And today is absolutely no exception, because not only is she a colleague, not only is she now an award-winning colleague, but she's also very active in the community. And she is Christiana Malacata. Good morning.
Good morning, Art. Thanks for having me on.
Sure. Well, first of all, before we get to your organization, congratulations on a couple of awards for That's What She Said.
Thank you.
It's an interesting program. I've actually, it's one of those programs you start listening to, you keep listening.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I've been in the car Saturday morning sometimes and I hear it, and other times on Sundays if I'm out. And I listen to it because it's interesting. It's really interesting.
Yeah, we're Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. and then Sundays at 6 p.m. On air. So, but there's other ways to find us.
And then the podcast portion.
And then
which
the podcast
is one
portion.
of the awards you won for that. You won 2 awards for it.
I did. The second award was a feature story that I did on Ben Sumerman, who is the Van Sumerman, who plays for the Eagles, who in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good full circle experience for sure.
And what was it like at the MAB Awards ceremony, the gala? That's an interesting time, isn't it?
Stellar. It was absolutely stellar. I walked into the room. It was at the Sound Bar in the Motor City Casino, my first time attending, and I was floored. It was amazing to be around so many just like-minded people. We were talking about, how crummy our hours are sometimes, and then how
all have the same story.
But also the adventure of meeting people and being a digital storyteller at times.
Well, it's people don't realize it, but it's a relatively small community in the broadcasting world, and it's gotten smaller. But the acknowledgement you get from some of these things is something you remember and you carry with you. And you're proud of, So be proud of them. You got a couple of nice awards.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. So aside from what you do in this building, I don't know how you do what you do. I don't know how to keep up with you.
Coffee.
You have coffee and lack of sleep.
Coffee and willpower. There we go. That's the remedy, guys.
Well, one of the organizations you're involved in is LLEAD. And it stands for Latino Leaders for Equity, Advocacy, and
Development.
Mm-hmm. And you have a number of things coming up in cooperation with the Michigan SBDC. So tell us about some of these things. First of all, tell us about the organization, how you got involved. You're chairwoman.
Oh,
She's not just in it, folks. She's running it.
I am in July. It'll be 2 years that I've been the chairwoman. And this is a role that is voted upon. So I'm nominated and voted to run. So I'll be finishing out my first term in July.
Now, how old's the organization?
The organization itself runs statewide. And LEAD Saginaw, we say LEAD, LLEAD, as LEAD Saginaw, is one chapter out of many. The organization as a whole is 11 years old. This chapter is 10 years old. So I've been, along with my amazing executive board, have been in position and working monthly, having monthly meetings for the past 2 years. So, how I came about this role is volunteerism. Just learned about it, wanted to get integrated better into my community, especially with the Latino population. Although it does say Latino in its title, we have members from all walks of life and all backgrounds.
I guess I won't ask that question.
Yeah. Sorry. And but we have from the Delta College SVSU students all the way to retired superintendents. So it's really nice to have an entire group of people that can have a conversation and express themselves and be involved and feel like they have a place in the community.
If I said to you, what's the mission of the organization? How would you define it?
That's a great question. We actually have a focus in education. And when we looked at education, that can be broken down into many sectors. So we went ahead and took a survey in the community, and we found out with the Latino population, where did they want to be educated best at? What topics was it? Well, 3 stood out. One was welcome and culture. So we have a subcommittee for welcome and culture. The second one is in education itself. So that is from elementary school to filling out your FAFSA form. And then our third, which is one of my faves, is we have a subcommittee under Lead Saginaw, which is in small business, and just advocating and figuring out what is it that those small businesses need and filling that void through Lead Saginaw.
We'll go back to the first one, the culture thing.
Mm-hmm.
It would seem to me, because it's the way I grew up, I relate to me.
Sure.
I can't relate to anybody else that way. The culture segment was always part of the responsibility of my parents. That's where I learned about my culture, my heritage. Do we not do that today?
I think we got busy being busy.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
Yeah.
And it's probably true.
And so some of those things that you pass down, you don't honestly have time to do. You know, I know how to pass on the culture and the tradition of making a tortilla, right? It's actually quite simple. Do we have the time to do it? Probably not. It might be easier to go down to your local bakery and support that small business and buying the pack of tortillas. So, you know, continuing that pattern, yes, you are, you know, supporting your culture, but are you passing along that legacy? Probably not.
Yeah. Well, it just, I find that fascinating. It's at the top of the list like that.
Yeah, it is. Also with different cultures blending too. Some of our members are the parents and grandparents that have, you know, children or grandchildren who are Latino. And they want to be able to connect and teach and learn about the culture to be able to hand that off and relate in some ways.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because it's why I go back to what I said about parents being the culture teachers, because in this day and age, with mixed ethnicity, mixed religion, mixed racial marriages, the cultures become blended and not distinct. And if you didn't learn about it, where will you learn about it? Mm-hmm. Will you learn about it in this day and age with all of the integration?
Yeah, well, there's some great...
Which is fine. Don't get me wrong. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
My late wife was of an entirely different religion than I was, you know. Mm-hmm. And from that, I learned about hers, and she learned about mine. But totally different cultures.
I have so many things to say on that.
Well, go for it.
one, that is the power of love. No matter what your culture and background is, you know, whoever these, you know, 2 people, 4 people, whatever your family consists of, it's a blend of love, and you're creating your own culture. You know, the traditions that my parents had and the traditions that my husband's parents had, that we're creating a blend for our children. And now that's what they have and they can pass along. So, you know, if it is passing along a recipe or, you know, a Latino Christmas tradition, it's coming from two family members to another, even within the same culture.
Were you brought up with strong Latino culture education?
I would say that's a good question, because you can only learn what the other person already knows unless you go out and find more knowledge. And that's really what joining LEAD was for me. I started out as a member for a short time, just a few months, and then we had nominations, and they're like, get that girl in, lock her down. And that's exactly what our survey showed too, was we just want to learn more, you know, be lifelong learners within our own culture. But there are lots of great places out in the community that are working on the sustainability of our culture as a Latino population. Yeah. For example, the Saginaw Art Museum has teamed up with Lead Saginaw with our Welcome and Culture Committee to have Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, and making sure that has, you know, a life later, you know, that every year this is annual, but also that the cultural appropriation is right on target too.
As the Day of the Dead deserves a life of its own.
Exactly.
We're going to take a break. We're talking to Cristiana Malacata. There are a number of small business workshops coming up put on by LEAD, and we will tell you about those and lots more when we return on the Art Lewis Show.
For 20 years, New Finish has been your...
Malacata, who is, among other things, of course, a member of our staff here and won a couple of awards from the MAB this past weekend. But she's also involved in the community and chairwoman of an organization called LEADS, Latino Leaders for Equity, Advocacy, and Development. And they have a whole bunch of workshops coming up. It's a workshop series presented by the organization and the Michigan SBDC. So, Madam Chairwoman, do tell us, please, about these workshops.
Of course, Art. I would gladly share all about these workshop series. So this is our second year doing this. This is our signature event for the business committee within Lead Saginaw. And like I said, Lead Saginaw is one chapter of many across the state. So we have this mission to help grow and create, again, that word sustainability, but with small businesses, period. Latino or not, doesn't matter. Small businesses are the root of every, dare I say, every community. So the Small Business Workshop Series is a great way to learn information. It's free to attend. And our next one is, we're already two deep into this, 2 workshops deep into this. So our third one is April 17th, and it is AI in small business.
Oh.
So that is going to be very interesting from 6 until 7:30. Again, all of these are free to attend.
Let me just, before we move on to the next one, but the previous 2, March 20th was Small Business 101, and April 3rd was Financial Management. Those are pretty basic to small business. Are they in any way recorded and available for people to see that weren't there?
So LEAD works with Michigan SBDC to create PowerPoint slides, and those can always be emailed to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a way to find out at least what went on at the meeting.
Oh,
All
most
right.
definitely, yeah. And this one that we just had last week, the financial management, that's important anytime for startups. Closing down your company or just a transition of hands. That was a good one. But AI in small business is April 17th. The 23rd of April, we are going to have a class talking about your website and what the blueprint should look like, targeting your specific business. So the cool thing that I enjoy about these classes is we don't have 25 plus people in these workshops. It's maybe 10, 15 to people. And so we're able to answer your questions individually. If you have a business, as a tow truck company, or if you have a business that's a bakery, we're able to tailor the answers to your questions very easily and right there on the spot.
And where are these held and what time?
So they all start at 6:00 and they end at 7:30, and they are at SVSU Riverfront. So that's located 200
Downtown.
South Washington.
Yeah. And cost?
Free.
Yay!
Free. Come
Love
on
that
down.
word. Love that word.
Everybody's welcome. There's a Facebook page. You could always go to the Lead Saginaw's Facebook page, and then you'll see under events where you can register. This is just frankly a head count, so that way we can get the appropriate amount of food, which is provided by Team One.
And now we move on to April 24th because this is different.
It is.
This is a different one. This one costs money,
It does.
but you get something out of it. So tell us about it.
You sure do. So on April 24th, we're actually still downtown, but downtown Delta College, that Saginaw Center, and it's a headshot and networking event. So we have a professional photographer coming in, Michelle Torres, and she has been a photographer, senior pictures, wedding pictures, and headshots for 15 plus years. And this idea just came about saying, if you're a professional and you need to navigate in that world, every once in a while, you need a good headshot. So for $40, again, anyone in the community can join by signing up online, registering through the Facebook page, or just stopping in that day and paying the $40 flat rate for the networking, the appetizers, and then 2 fully edited headshots sent right to you.
So you get the headshots
Oh, yeah. Via email.
that you can use if you're applying for work, whatever you want to use them for. Then.
Yeah. If you're already an established business too, come in with that logoed shirt, that whatever it is that you need a headshot for. Even if you are a business and your company needs headshots, $40 a person is a great way to do this.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And dress is business casual or business formal. But I like the idea if you wear a logoed shirt, wear it
Yeah.
for the headshot.
Definitely. You're not really going to find this price anywhere else. Her business,
Casa Mescalata.
Mescalata. Yep. And it's I was talking to Michelle this morning, and that translates to the mixed house. So I was curious about this, and it's basically a collaboration of talent, and it goes back to that cultural blend that we were just talking about. You know, like, what do you bring to the table? What do I bring to the table? And then what is this that we project out? And she has a pool of talent. She really does. So we're working with a wonderful photographer, and again, that's on April 24th at 5:30.
And it'd be networking with your community, appetizers, and 2 fully edited professional headshots. Because of that, do you need an appointment, or you just show up?
Nope, we just show up.
Starting at 5:30, Delta College at 319 East Genesee in Saginaw.
Sure thing. When you get there, you can sign up, and we'll just take those as first come, first serve.
All right. So there is one more in this series on April 30th.
That is selling your business. So when we do this workshop series, we always end with our last classes. How are we selling our business? How are we passing that along with the hopes that, you're passing along something for more prosperity later?
It's interesting you say that, because selling your business has multiple connotations. Selling your business, hey, I got a business for sale. You want to buy my business? Or, hey, I got a business. I'm open for business. Come on in.
Mm-hmm.
That's selling your business.
That could be, yeah. When we had this class in the series last year, it was more or less selling your book of business. How are you selling your book of business if you were in the financing and investment world? We also had questions, and I'll go back to it. We had a couple who owns a tow truck company, and they needed to sell their trucks and their equipment. What does that look like? What is that value? And how do you fill that out financially correctly? What are those steps? So Michigan SBDC has been an amazing partner in this project for the second year, and very knowledgeable.
All right. These are a whole bunch of workshops. And is there a website before we move on to other things?
Yeah. So the website is llead.org. And I would recommend getting on Facebook. If you have a Facebook, that'd be great for you to go to Lead Saginaw Chapter. And the Facebook will be able to take you right to the events and right to the registration. Or you could email any questions directly to us at lleadsaginaw989@gmail.com.
All right, we're going to take a break, come back with Christiana right after all of these notes.
Steve, did you take my...
Back with you on the Art Lewis Show. We are chatting with award-winning Christiana Malakata and her lead organization. We went through the series of workshops, and we'll go through them again in a bit. But what led you to radio?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. So I actually studied fine arts. I don't know if you know that one, Art.
No, I didn't know that.
I went to the Gwen Frostic School of Fine Arts in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And I am I'm an artist. I'm a painter and printmaker.
Are you really?
I sure am. Yeah. And it was an absolutely wonderful experience. I learned so much about myself, about how to navigate through a critique, how to be able to think out of the box, and how to stay on my toes, which are all things you need in radio. So when it came to...
Yeah, I relate.
There we go. So when it came to radio, the journey chose me. I came in with someone who is actually no longer here at the station, and she just said, "Hey, you have a good voice, and I need help every once in a while." So I just came in as just part-time, on occasion news reporter, and over the past 2 years, we've grown. I've grown, and you just saw last weekend I accepted 2 MAB awards. So 2 years and a lot of what we called in the first segment, hard work and dedication, or hard work and grit, or coffee and grit. Is that what I said? There
Something
we go.
Like that.
Yeah. So
and
that's it.
How did the That's What She Said series come about?
Ooh, that came about. I'll give you the cliff notes on that one.
We have time.
Oh, we have time. All right. Hold on then. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, a very, very, very good friend. We were talking about how women get things done. And it's just one of those things where it doesn't matter how big the mountain is, we're going to make it to the top. And, once we get there, we're going to make sure that we're pulling up someone behind us.
I'm smiling while you're saying that.
And
because,
you sure are.
When my wife passed 2 years ago, and I came back to work, one of the first things I said is you don't appreciate how much your wife did until she's not there doing it anymore.
Definitely.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Blew my mind.
The conversations that I have weekly with women are, it changes each week, right? We have a different person behind the mic. But the person that it's changed the most is myself and my relationship with my family. I've learned so much through these women's eyes. It's been an absolute honor to share their story.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I've been doing this a long time. Longer than you've been around. But former co-host here, Sue Smith, once described me as a sponge. I don't come in knowing everything about you, but I leave knowing more about you. And what you've said about how it changes you is very true. Especially when you do what we do, and that's you interview other people to find out about them. Because you walk away with little bits and pieces of it that all of a sudden you realize maybe you can use in your life.
Definitely. I recently heard this concept of 1 degree. So you're walking down a path. Just picture you're just walking down the path and you know exactly where you're going at the end. You know where that mission is. And then somebody comes up to you and asks you a question. And then somebody else comes and asks for help. And somebody else, you see somebody needing help. And all the way down this path, you're a little left, a little right, a little left, a little right, maybe 2 rights, 2 lefts. And next thing you know, your destination, you're still happy at that end point. But that is not what the original journey was. So each person along that path has rotated and tilted and turned you 1 degree, a little bit, just a touch of that person along the way. And circling back to, hey, I went to fine art school. I was a painter and printmaker. I'm an artist. Essentially, it was storytelling. And now here in this radio industry, I'm still doing that. I'm still storytelling. It's still sharing. It's still learning. And along those years between graduation and accepting those awards, I have had hundreds and hundreds of people move me 1 degree.
And you know what, that in life, there are those people who can be moved, and there are those people with tunnel vision. And if you have tunnel vision, you are missing out on much of what life offers.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But yet there are many, many people who have very limited views of things.
Yeah, when I talk with youth in, if it's bringing them through the station to, even tomorrow, I have somebody job shadowing me tomorrow. One thing that I always tell them
luck,
is,
whoever you are.
Yeah, oh, she's gonna be great. She's gonna be wonderful. And but one of the first things I tell them is to be teachable. You do not know everything, but you know what? Even your teacher doesn't know everything, and you can learn. Be a lifelong learner and be teachable. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, what chapter of life you're going through, what trials you may have. Just be teachable through each chapter, and you're gold, baby. It'll be all good. Just be able to be that sponge and absorb and learn and be teachable, be open to it.
And it's fun to do what we do. We ask the questions. I know you're sitting across from me today, and I'm kind of, wending down the road, so to speak. In the near future, I've been told that I'm going to be sitting down with Matt Fallon, and he's going to be doing that to me.
Uh-oh.
And I have to tell you, in my entire career, one of the things I've avoided as much as I possibly can is being interviewed.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I want to control the conversation. So look out, Matt.
No, he'll be great. He'll be great for it. I just recently, I was asked, well, let's do an episode on you and who would interview you.
Yep.
What's your story? And it was always a 2-part answer for me is, well, who's going to interview me? I don't know. I don't know who would interview me. And then at the end is, what's my story? Well, my story's not done. I'm still working through it. So I'll let you know, but maybe we need to call in Matt Fallon for reinforcements for that one too. Can you picture him on That's What She Said?
Yeah, there you go. As the guest or the host.
Oh, man.
All right, we're going to take a break, come back, and finish up our conversation with Christiana Malacata here on the Art Lewis Show. More ahead. Stick around.
When it's time to choose a residual
And we are back with you for one final segment with Christiana Malacata. She is, among other things, a member of our staff here at Alpha Media and the winner of 2 awards for That's What She Said and also a news feature that she did. And then she is the chairwoman of the LLED organization, that is the LEAD organization, which stands for Latino Leaders for Equity, Advocacy, and Development. Whole bunch of workshops coming up. 2 of them have already taken place. There's 4 left. April 17th, AI and small business. We're at that point where we have to talk about it, huh?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think everyone has this, scope visioned about how AI is a threat. And in some ways, it may be.
Well, it's like everything else.
Like everything else.
That's how you use it.
I mean, it's kind of like chocolate.
Yeah.
I knew you would get that one. It's good, but it's kind of bad for you, but it tastes so good and it's everywhere.
No. Dark chocolate's supposed to be healthy for you.
Yeah, I have switched to dark chocolate.
No, I never moved away from it. I've always been a dark chocolate fan.
A lot of cocoa here. So so AI and small business. How can we use it? How can we use it as a tool? I have, through WSGW, I've attended a lot of workshops on AI and how to not be scared, how to use it, how to optimize its workings to make things better. And as a small business, that's what a small business owner would want, right? To make things better.
So you're going to do this. Who's going to do the presenting?
Well, each workshop is hosted by Michigan SBDC. So they have a representative there. I am also there. And then Team 1 provides a tip each meeting on, what they see is a need through Team 1 for a small business when it comes to finances.
And you mentioned earlier these are smaller groups, 10 to 15 people. So you really have time to converse and answer questions. And
we do.
Find out what you need to know relative to your business.
Most definitely. The last 30 minutes, so it's from 6 until 7:30, and the last 30 minutes are really that Q&A. But throughout the whole time when we're going through the slides that are specifically tailored for these classes, we're having open dialogue. How does this apply to this? And we can navigate through that question right then and there, or just say, you know what, I have a resource for you. Let's save it to the last 30 minutes.
The big one, April 24th, is the Headshot Networking down at Delta College downtown. That one's a $40 fee, but you do leave with a couple of headshots, professionally taken edited headshots, 2 of them. And there's hors d'oeuvres and other things to keep you occupied. So this is a series. Started on March 20th, ends on April 30th. When do you do it again? Or when do you do a different series? How often do you do these?
So we normally do them every year, starting in March. Once a year. But we are getting a lot of requests to do this at the end of 2025. So, in November, December, leading that way. But as of now, we just do this once a year. It's the signature event for our business committee through Lead Saginaw.
So what does Lead Saginaw do the rest of the year?
Oh, so many fun things. I wouldn't be involved if it wasn't just a fun experience. So, like I said, we have 3 subcommittees. So with the Welcome and Culture, we're participating in parades. We have the Cinco de Mayo one coming up. We have the Juneteenth one coming up, and just making sure that there's sustainability in those cultural events in the community. And then with our education committee, which we can talk about later, and I can share that information, is we have our bilingual book series through our education committee, and that takes a whole 6 months to just ramp up and launch. It's called Readers to Leaders Bilingual Book Giveaway. And this will be our 3rd year doing that. And we give away 2 English to Spanish absolutely free books to Saginaw County youth that are elementary and middle school. So that takes up a whole lot of our time too. And then we meet monthly, which is actually this Thursday every second Thursday of the month, 6 o'clock at downtown Delta College.
Is it a membership